Get some. Kick your ass. Yeah. Oh yeah, get fucked. Whoop, son. Bow and arrows in this game are so fun. Yeah.
Hey, Rose. Rose, notice me. Ah, Jesus fucking Christ, there's not enough vodka in the world for this. Rose.
What do you want? I'm playing games over here.
It's time to record.
What do you mean it's time to record? Is the camera rolling?
Yeah, the camera's rolling. It's podcast time.
Podcast time. Oh, shit. What's going on, guys? Sorry about that. I got a little distracted.
Christ. I think we're going to have to hold an intervention.
What is going on, guys? My name is The Rose, and I'm joined once again by my co-host, Cypher. This is the Game Corner Podcast, Episode 9, Part Number 2. It is Saturday, March 3rd, the Switch's anniversary, 1-year anniversary. And tonight, we're going to bring to you a review of the Nintendo Switch console. We are going to bring to you some more gaming news, some Sony news, some news about the next upcoming Battlefield game. We're going to bring news to you about Demon's Souls and the online servers finally shutting down for good. And we have some updates about the Xenoblade Chronicles 2 game. So, that being said, follow me on Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, and YouTube. I am 3 followers away from reaching affiliate status on Twitch. So if you follow me on Twitch, I'd greatly appreciate it. I always stream on the weekends. And rarely, randomly during the week. Also, follow the great Erin Fitzgerald, the voice actress, on YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, and Facebook as well. Follow Black Sakura on Facebook. And check out Jotaku.net, where we have our occasional articles written about anime, video games, manga, and all that good stuff. All the links are in the description box down below, as always. So, man, I got a story to tell you about yesterday. Holy shit.
Right.
So yesterday, I don't know what happened to me, but yesterday, I slept for a little bit, woke up to go to the bathroom, and it's like 6:30 in the morning or so, a little after 6:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
And then I went to go back to bed, and my Comcast service was disconnected. So I'm like, what the hell? Because I paid my bill.
Yeah.
So I had to wait until 7 o'clock in the morning to call them and talk to the payment center about what the hell the problem was. Turns out that when I paid my bill, because I always pay past due, because I'm on government funding for my disability,
Yeah.
so I could only pay, once a month, and I always pay late. Well, they didn't tell me that my new charges were going to be 30 days past due as of yesterday. So because of that, they shut my service off again, even though I made a payment. So they restored my services because I made the payment and I was misinformed. And they're giving me until the middle of the month. I'm supposed to call back at like the 20th to schedule another payment. Okay. So thankfully, my mom has her income tax and she's going to be able to pay the bill this time because I won't be able to.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm on the phone with them for about 40 minutes because while I was on the phone with Comcast, I actually opted into a promotion deal they were doing, which was effectively going to lower my bill by about $30 to $40 a month. So that's pretty cool.
That's pretty good.
So after the phone call, I had to wake my mom up because my brother had a sore throat. He's got an ear infection and all that good shit. I should say bad shit, because not good shit. And then I had to put my nephew on a school bus. By the time I got to laying back down in bed, it was almost 10 o'clock in the morning. tired. I got a fucking headache. I finally fell asleep, and I woke up. Around 3:30 because I had to get my nephew off the school bus.
Yeah.
Couldn't stay awake worth the fuck. I think I was awake for maybe 2 hours. Fell back to sleep for about 3 hours. Woke up, ate dinner. I had boar's head bologna for dinner, so that just tells you the quality of my dinner yesterday. Stayed awake for a couple hours again. Fell back to sleep at 11 o'clock last night. Thankfully, Joe didn't do Monetize This last night because of the storm. And he had no power. Hope he's doing all right. So, thankfully, I didn't miss the show. It's supposed to be on tonight. With that being said, I fell back to sleep again at 11. Woke up at about 2:40 in the morning. And fell back to sleep about 4 hours later. And then I slept about 4 hours after going back to sleep for like the fourth time. In a time span of like 24 hours. And that 4 hours of sleep I got felt like 10. I don't know what was wrong with me yesterday. I could not stay awake worth the fuck. I got nothing done, which is why the podcast for this week and this weekend has not been uploaded yet. Because the recordings I wanted to do yesterday, I just finished them today. My brain pretty much shut itself off, and my body wanted nothing to do with being alive.
Fuck, dude. I've experienced that myself. Like, I can't remember what day it was, but actually, I think it was yesterday. It was either yesterday or the day before last that I went to bed at like 5 or 6 in the morning, and I woke up, and it was like I felt physically weak, and it was really weird.
Jesus.
Yeah, it was really fucking freaky. Like, I felt like I didn't have the energy to move. You know what I mean?
Right. That's how I felt yesterday. Like, I didn't want to do jack shit. It's like my brain just turned itself off from the world.
Yeah. And then you have stuff like today where it's like, fucking, I went to bed at 6 a.m. and I woke up at like 6:30 p.m. My roommates had the day off, so one of them made poutine, which I know you said that you'd never heard of it before, but poutine is it's a Canadian dish. It's fries, gravy, and cheese, and it originates from Quebec, and it's really one of the few good things Quebec has given us.
I was gonna say I never heard of it before tonight.
But it's really fucking tasty. Especially when it's homemade. Like, poutine can make shitty, like, just terrible store-bought, like, crinkle cut fries taste amazing.
I love crinkle cut fries. I give you that much.
Flies.
Hey, that could be a new food for
like Bimbos or Doritos.
That could be a new food for Sakurachi. Crinkle cut flies. Yes. Oh shit. Oh brother.
Yeah.
So, anyways, continue.
See, I made that, and then I was trying to catch up on DB Super.
Don't spoil it for me.
No, I'm still like super far behind. I'm only like 12 episodes in.
Oh, seriously?
Well, I was trying to catch up on it when I first got my Crunchyroll subscription, but I ended up getting kind of distracted. So tonight I was like, man, I really got to catch up on Super. So I walk out, and my roommate's watching Inuyasha on the big screen, and I'm like, hey, do you mind? And he was cool with it. He's like, hey, you can change it to whatever you want if you want. Like, I don't care. I was like, cool, I'll put on something that isn't terrible. Because we're sitting there, like, shitting on Inuyasha the whole time. Because, I don't know, man. I never really got the appeal of it, personally.
Same.
But I'm sitting there making, like, good doggo jokes, like, fucking all he needed was to be pet, shit like that. My other roommate walks out, he's like, this is the weirdest cat boy anime I've ever seen, and I'm like, I'm pretty sure he's some a dog.
I thought it was a wolf myself.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he's a wolf or something, but yeah, so we did that for a bit, and then And then we had that meeting for Black Sakura, and now here I am.
Yeah, and here we are. So, before we continue, I'd like to give everybody a warning for this part. I have some deconstruction going on in the next room over, so if you can hear a lot of loud banging and shit, sounds like it's smashing against the wall and whatnot, or you hear hammering sounds, in the next room over, my brother's bedroom, we're having a new floor put in, so that's currently going on at the moment. So, if any background noise, try to block it out, because honestly I can't do anything about it tonight. And next week there will be no more nonsensical background noise other than the usual bullshit. So with that being said, I think we should get right into this podcast and start her up. So the Nintendo Switch today turns a year old. The launch lineup for this game consisted of Super Bomberman R. It consisted of Fast RMX, Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, and a few lower tier title games like Just Dance 2018 and a couple other shitting games. Some stuff that was on the eShop. I know there was like Neo Geo Archive. There's a few of those on there that launched with the system. And over the course of the past year, we did get some pretty good stuff.
Yeah.
So what do you think of the console so far?
Well, I bought my Switch in October when I finally got the money. And when I got my Switch, I ended up buying, I think it was... Zelda, Mario Odyssey. It was Breath of the Wild, Mario Odyssey, I think Mario Kart 8, and Street Fighter 2. And then later on, I ended up getting Disgaea 5, Bayonetta 1 and 2, and Xenoblade 2. If I'm completely honest with you, I think that the Switch, given that it's only a year old, has a fairly solid...
Why am I bringing this to you?
I don't know. Go on.
A fairly solid lineup. And I gotta admit, that console is like crack. Like, it's really good. Like, it is super addictive. It's really unique that it's kind of it's like handheld and not. In fact, I think that's probably my favorite feature, but as far as the games lineup goes, it's like Nintendo finally has some they have some first party stuff that obviously you would want to buy because fuck, it's a Nintendo console.
Right.
And they've got some second party stuff, like I wouldn't really consider Bayonetta to be first party because it was developed by Platinum. So it's really closer to second party stuff, but and then you have a decent array of third party and indie titles as well. The only complaint that I have about the Switch so far as game selection goes, is a lot of the stuff that they released is already on the PS4. Like Disgaea 5 is on the PS4, even though the complete edition of Disgaea 5 has all the DLC included.
Skyrim Remastered is on the PS4, while the regular Skyrim is on the Switch.
Yeah, and, oh, shit. Yeah, so, Skyrim's on it, and most of those Neo Geo Classics are on the PlayStation Store as well.
Right. And then you got other games that released on the Switch, like Sonic Mania, that was also on the PS4, and PC and other stuff. As well as, trying to think, I know the Switch didn't get Call of Duty. Doom. Doom on the PS4. Last year, in fact. There's a couple other games that is previously on the PS4. And I know why these companies kind of did that, because they said they were testing the waters to see how their games would sell on the Switch before they started committing to it more faithfully. Which in a way is understandable.
Yeah, I think that's pretty smart, really, because, although the Switch sometimes doesn't run things as well as the PlayStation 4 does, I do think that it's generally a good idea just because the Switch has portability.
Right. There's some games that now you can take anywhere you go with you. And the one thing I really liked about the Switch is that hybrid portability. Because unlike the 3DS and the Wii U, where when they released the same game for both units, if you wanted to play the game anywhere you wanted to go, but on a TV at the same time, you had to buy both copies of the game and play the same game with 2 different save files.
Yeah.
Whereas now you can have your game on your TV, pause the game, and say you have to go somewhere, like a doctor's appointment, and you know you're going to be sitting there for a little while. Take your game with you, get to the office, sit there, and while you're waiting, unpause your game and continue from right where you left off.
Which, to be fair, that's something that the PS4 and PS Vita kind of did.
At least
it
tried.
Cross save was a thing. I think they kind of nipped cross-buy in the bud really early on after they introduced it.
Yeah, it didn't work out very well, and they had the remote play thing, which nobody used.
Yeah,
for the most part.
Mean, honestly, if you want to play Vita games, just get a PS TV.
Yeah. But, so this thing is unique in that the controller is detachable from the unit or from the Joy-Con grip. And this is very simple for anyone who hasn't, for some reason, seen a Switch yet. These are the Joy-Con controllers, and you can play them like this. With your Switch on the TV, or the Switch has a stand. Now, have you ever used the kickstand on your Switch yet, by any chance?
I didn't even know it had one, unless you mean like the dock that is in it for like the TV, or
no, it has a legit kickstand.
Oh fuck, I didn't know that.
In fact, for you to get to your SD card slot, you had to have opened your kickstand.
Oh, that's what that's for.
Yeah. You open it up, and it stands up on the table, and you can play it in tabletop mode with your Joy-Cons detached.
Honestly, that's the one way I haven't played my Switch.
And then,
like, don't get me wrong, right? Like, I've detached it from the dock, but I would rather just hold it in my hands.
Yeah, me too, to be honest. I mean, don't get me wrong, I tried it in tabletop mode, but to me, I just find that it sits too low to my viewing comforts.
Yeah.
You know? So, the console is only a 32 gigabyte standard, and the OS that's in this thing, and all the software that it takes to run the Switch, is, I would say, almost taken up half of it. So what do you think they could have done better for the memory? Like, because as of right now, you have to go out and you have to buy SanDisk micro SD cards to expand your Switch's library of games and to be able to play the games pretty much.
I'm not really sure how realistic it would be for them to have more internal storage. Just because, like, it's a tiny console, it's portable, it would take more power to run, probably, stuff like that. So it's like, I kind of get it, but it's like, it's only micro SD, right?
Yes.
I see. So it's like, it's a shame that you can't use, like, secure digital, like, the big SD cards. Do you know what I mean? The 64 and 128 and stuff?
Well, you can. They sell micro SD cards of that as well, but they're more expensive.
Oh, actually, instead, what I'd really like to see, and I know not a lot of consoles do this anymore, is either give me the option to use external storage if it's docked. Like, I have like a Passport, like, hard drive that I use.
Right.
For my PS4, so it's like, that's 2 terabytes, and I know that I'm never going to use 2 terabytes on my Switch.
No, I'm not.
The games don't take up nearly that much. But it would still be a nice option to have, or even, like, giving us 2 SD card slots.
Two SD card slots would have been cool. Because right now I have exactly 2 SD cards, and I have to switch them out, you know?
Exactly.
And it kind of gets annoying. Now, as far as games go, I played Bomberman R, which I thought was boring, because it lacked a lot of content. I played Fast RMX, which was just like RMX stands for Remix, which is a remixed version of Fast Racing Neo, which came out 3 months earlier on the Wii U. I played Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, obviously the definitive version of Mario Kart 8.
Mm-hmm.
I tried the ARMS beta test when that came out. I thought that game was pretty fun, but I actually never bought it yet. I have Fire Emblem Warriors, which is a great game, if you're a fan of the Warriors franchise, and Fire Emblem. I have Mario Odyssey, because why not? That's like the staple of the Nintendo Switch library right now for anybody to have. I'm not a Zelda fan, although I do respect the games, so I do not have Breath of the Wild and never will. From what I've played, I thoroughly enjoyed everything I've played. I've played most of my games in both docked and handheld mode. And I gotta say, Fast RMX is probably the most uncomfortable game to play in handheld mode. Oh, and I also played Gear Club Unlimited too, which was the arcade-style racing game for the Switch. It was a good game. Wasn't a terrible racing game, but it was lacking in some departments. Wasn't a bad game, however. If you like racing games, it's one worth checking out on the Switch. Now, there is some room for improvement for this console. They went back to friend codes as opposed to using Nintendo IDs.
Which is weird, because they make you make a Nintendo account when you go to use the eShop.
Right, and then they assign a friend code to that account. So it kind of defeats the purpose.
Yeah, it's really redundant to do that. Yeah, so I think friend codes are like just a generally terrible idea. I think that for some people, they might want to see more customization options. Like, I personally couldn't give a shit about avatars or themes.
Right.
But it's definitely lacking because the only two themes you have are, like, black and white.
Yeah.
And for avatars, it's just first-party Nintendo stuff, like Zelda-themed, Mario-themed, Splatoon-themed, etc.
Right. Like, there's no Fire Emblem ones, which, you know, there maybe should be at this point. There's no Kirby.
I was going to say, it'd be cool if when you bought a game, you got a small collection of avatars that are related to that game.
Or at least one, you know?
At least one.
Hammer, hammer, hammer. As far as the console itself, some people were complaining of their consoles bending from getting too hot from extended play with them. See, a lot of people complained about things with this thing. And all the complaints that have surfaced on the internet, my Switch has not had any of those problems.
No, mine hasn't either. Like, most of my complaints about the Switch are, like, they're pretty minor. The only quote-unquote major one that I have is that I feel like when you know, like, the dock that they give you for your Joy-Cons, like the controller-looking thing that you put your Joy-Cons in?
The grip, yeah.
That feels kind of awkward to hold at first. It takes some getting used to.
Yeah, I mean, I could see it. It took me a couple of minutes to get the feel for it.
It's a little too small and wear.
Yeah, I could agree there.
But honestly, I don't really have many complaints. I think the battery life is good. The only problem I have, and it's not necessarily one with the Switch itself, is that the eShop does not currently have Virtual Console support.
And the eShop right now is very lacking in content, is a fucking mess.
Yeah, that's true. The eShop, for example, does not let you browse by DLC. You have to find the game itself. I don't think it lets you browse by genre, either.
I don't think so, no.
It's very bare bones. Like, I think it's just, it's like top selling, highest rated,
newest
and all, and deals are the only options that you have, and then you can search, obviously.
Yeah, because I was just in the eShop before. I'm like, how do I find the DLC for Fire Emblem Warriors? Because I bought the season pass for it for the 2 DLCs, and I think there's going to be at least 2 more for the game coming out. And that's when you told me, oh, you got to click on the game first. I'm like, why?
Yeah.
So that definitely needs some fixing. Mainly, all the issues with this thing are all software related.
Yeah.
As this thing is not really supported by all of the apps that were on the Wii U. Like, there's still no YouTube app. There's no Twitch app. There's no internet browser. No Netflix.
There's no Netflix, no Crunchyroll, no Funimation, none of that stuff.
Yeah. And while not all of those apps are on the Wii U, at least some of the staples were. Like Netflix and YouTube, and I think even Hulu was on the Wii U. And this thing doesn't have any of those. And there's been a lot of people lately that's been complaining, like, oh, when are we going to get Netflix on the Switch? And they just keep saying, oh, it's coming, it's coming. Well, yeah, we're a year in. Where is it?
It's really irritating. Like, I think part of it is that it's because it's a portable console, but, like, it's really irritating that my PS3 and my PS4 can run all that stuff and more, and the Switch can't.
Right.
Like, because before I put my PS4 in my room, I was like, okay, well, I got to make sure that my roommates have access to Crunchyroll and Funimation because they helped pay for it. So we were looking to see if it was on the Switch first and foremost, but it's not.
Yeah, I could have told you that. There's no apps on this thing.
Like, yeah, there's literally none.
And
which is kind of shitty.
I'm glad the Switch supports Amiibo. You know, they carried that over, which is great. There are some, things I like about the Switch, and there's some things I don't. Everybody has their own objectives about it. But, besides the app and the Virtual Console and the eShop being fixed, what else would you want to see on the Switch in terms of, like, hardware updates, firmware updates, new additions to the console they can make? Maybe
that's a good question, really. I think that as far as hardware goes, the Switch is pretty good. I don't see any reason to slim it down because most of the bulk of this console comes from the Joy-Cons.
Right.
And I don't really think that you can streamline that design any more than you already have without sacrificing other features. I would like to see the bundled in, like, the controller piece be a little better in terms of its design. Or alternatively, like, I know that some games use the Joy-Cons, but most, like, for motion controls, but most games actually just use a standard control scheme.
Right.
So it's like, why not give us a normal controller?
Well, I mean, they did, but you had to buy it separately.
Yeah, that's what I mean, is like, that kind of bothers me. It's like, even then, what they could do is be like, to all retailers, when someone buys a Switch, you don't get a controller in the box. You get to basically choose, hey, do you want 2 Joy-Cons and a dock and, like, the little wrist strap thingies, or do you want, like, a classic controller?
And you know what else really bothered me? Was the Joy-Con grip. It doesn't charge the Joy-Cons. So, like, when your shit dies, you got to stop playing your game so you can charge your controllers. See, I got the Pro controller for Christmas. This is a $70 controller. It feels pretty good.
Controllers here are really expensive, too. They're like $90. But
it feels really good. It feels like an Xbox controller, to be honest.
What would be good is if they had them, like, if when you get your Switch and you get your dock and all your crap, is they also, like, one hardware update I'd like to see is, like, a port for the control, like, because they have the classic controller, right? That's wired, yeah?
Yeah.
So they already have a port, so it's like, give me the option to plug in the dock for the Joy-Cons into that and charge my Joy-Cons that way while I play.
Right. I mean, because that's how they made a Joy-Con grip chargeable one. And you have to plug that into the USB on the dock for it to work. I have that one. That costs $30. But again, you have to buy it separately.
Yeah, like, I feel like that's a feature that should have been included in the first place.
I think going forward with the Switch, I think they should swap out the Joy-Con grip for the chargeable Joy-Con grip. This way you can keep playing uninterrupted, no matter how you're playing your game.
Yeah, that would be nice. What else would I like to see? That's really... I think the Nintendo News feature is really cool. I'd like to see that update more based on, like, what you play, or have a... kind of... You know how Sony has, like, the drop-down menu if you linger on an item?
Yes.
I'd like to see them do something like that, where it's like, here's all the news that is related to this game. Like, here's the patch notes, here's the DLC, whatever. Stuff like that.
Right, and it showed, like, who on your friends list was recently playing it and stuff, too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that feature. It's pretty nice.
That'd be really cool.
Now, would you want to see an internet browser and stuff like that? Or do you think the internet browser is not necessary on the Switch?
I think that in today's world, we don't necessarily need one. Because most people have... Like, if you're out and about, you probably have a cell phone that can connect to the internet.
Right.
And if you're at home, you probably have a computer or another console. So I don't really see it as a necessity, per se, but I think it would be nice to have.
I mean, let's get real. The Wii U's browser, I think I used it twice.
I've never used the web browser on my PS4.
I've tried using it. I've tried using it, and no matter what you load on it, it'll always crash, and it'll say, like, this is not supported, or not enough memory to run this, and it'll just crash the pages, and I'm like, this ain't worth it.
Yeah, it's not worth it.
I think you nailed it. One thing maybe they should do is, I would like to see them get rid of friend codes and go back to the way they had you do it on the Wii U, is through their the network ID names, like how everybody else does it.
Yeah.
More avatars, specifically from third parties. Like, have some Sonic the Hedgehog ones, some Fire Emblem ones, some Star Fox ones if they're already not on there, because I don't know if they are.
They are, yeah.
Maybe some Shin Megami Tensei ones, because I'm sure they're not on there.
Oh god, if only.
Final Fantasy, stuff like that. Like, the PS4 doesn't restrict their avatars to first-party content.
No.
And I don't think Nintendo should either. Themes, maybe not dynamic or animated ones like PS4 has, but just something to personalize the look of your console would be pretty cool.
Yeah, it'd be nice.
The Virtual Console, definitely. Add some more functionality and organize the eShop. Also, when the Nintendo Online service comes on, and we have to pay $20 a year for it, which honestly really isn't a lot of money at all.
No, it's not.
I hope it's going to be good quality stuff, and, it's not going to make people regret the purchase.
Yeah, I guess we'll have to wait and see with that, because it's kind of like... My big concern is that it's going to be like PlayStation Plus, where it's like, they'll give you, say, what is it, like 2 games a month? Is that what it's supposed to be for Nintendo Online?
Is it? I thought it was only 1.
Oh, maybe it is. Well, if it's 12 games a month, or
12 games a year.
Yeah, so it's 12 games a year, then realistically, in my opinion, they'd have to give me at least 3 games that I would want for that 1 year to make it worthwhile.
Now, I heard a rumor that the games are going to be like Borrow, where you get it for free for a month, and then once the month was over and it switches out to the next free game, then you would lose access to the previous free game that you got to download.
Can you at least buy them?
I believe that's going to be the case. I don't think they're going to do that anymore. That was just a rumor I heard.
Okay.
I hope they don't do that. They should make it like PS Plus and Games with Gold, where as long as you're subscribed, you should have access to that game. But the only problem is they're only giving away NES and SNES type games, like Virtual Console stuff. They're not going to give us Wii U and Wii and older Switch games. You know? They're giving us old shit from over 20 years ago.
Yeah, and I think that if it's one game a month, and it's SNES and NES, it's like, first and foremost, it seems really redundant to me, because, well, first of all, you can emulate that shit super easy.
Oh, yeah.
Like, you can get it for free. And even if you couldn't get it for free, like, there's mobile ports of most of those games that are either free or cost, like, $2. Or even, you know, on the Nintendo Store. It's like, how much are they going to charge me for a copy of Chrono Trigger?
I know on the Wii U, they were like $8.
How much? 10?
8.
So 10 Canadian, yeah.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, so it's like, I don't necessarily know if that is, I don't think that could, unless they give you 12 games a year that you would be playing, it's like, it's not necessarily worth it.
Because then you're going to be paying to play online too. You know, just like PlayStation and Xbox. And people make that argument, well, you can play on PC for free. Which is true, but you're not going to be able to play Smash Bros. On PC online. Or Mario Kart. You know?
No, you'll have to get salty at other games.
Yeah. So it's like people that really want to play those games are going to get stuck buying the service one way or the other.
Yeah.
And as it is, I juggle PlayStation Plus and Xbox Live as it is. And now this is going to throw a monkey wrench into that because now it's going to be a third service I'm juggling. Thankfully, these charges are only once a year. And I've been getting them for Christmas for the past couple of years, so I haven't been buying it. Which also helps.
Yeah, I usually do mine around my birthday.
So, as far as the games lineup, I thought last year's lineup was pretty solid in a way. We had Zelda, we had Mario Kart 8, which did better on the Switch, of course. ARMS was like a sleeper title. That one was pretty popular for a little while. Splatoon 2 came out. Fire Emblem Warriors is alright. Then you have Mario Odyssey. And then some of the third-party stuff that's sprinkled in between. You had Capcom with Ultra Street Fighter 2 and the Resident Evil games that came out. Doom on the Switch. Skyrim on the Switch. You also had like the indie titles like Shovel Knight and stuff that came over from the older consoles onto the Switch. Sonic Mania came out for the Switch. Sonic Forces came out, even though that wasn't a strong title. Still a AAA game regardless. This year, I don't think the games lineup is going to be as strong unless Smash is revealed and released for the Switch this year. Even if it's a port of the Wii U version, like a deluxe version. Metroid Prime 4 has to release this year. And or the next Pokemon game has to release on the Switch this year. For the Switch to say that it has a strong lineup for the 2018 year.
I think the things that the Switch really needs right now, and of course this is just my opinion, so like take it with a grain of salt, is the Virtual Console needs to be established, and honestly, I would like to see them emulate newer games as well. I don't necessarily I don't necessarily know how well they could emulate, say, a Wii game or a Wii U game for like games that require, you know, very intensive motion controls. Because the Wii and the Wii U required a sensor bar as well.
Right.
But I would like to see them maybe try to emulate some N64 and GameCube games in that Virtual Console too. Like,
yes, N64 and GameCube, yes.
Like, if I can play GoldenEye on my fucking Switch, that's awesome. If I can get Mario Sunshine on my Switch, that's pretty great. You know, stuff like that. I'd also really like to see them release, because I think I talked about it in a previous episode, that they were going to release, I think, 2 collections of the Ace Attorney games, possibly.
Yeah.
And a new one as well, and I really hope that comes out. But as far as like a strong library for first-party titles, I think they definitely need to at least announce Pokemon Switch, even if it doesn't come out this year.
Right.
They need to at least make a proper announcement for Metroid Prime 4. Hopefully it'll come out this year, but I kind of doubt it. Smash, even if it's a port, needs to come out, like you said. And Mario Party needs to come out for the Switch.
Right, and not that top 100 garbage that came out for
no, fuck no. They need to actually release like a proper Mario Party.
Now, there is a new Kirby game coming this year. There is a new Yoshi game coming this year, which, definitely bring it on, because those are games I am going to play.
Yeah.
Bayonetta 3 is coming out this year.
I can't wait for that.
I think a proper Fire Emblem game is coming out this year for the Switch. I think.
I fucking hope so.
So, I mean, there is a pretty decent lineup, but I just don't think it's going to be as strong as last year. Unless the Pokemon game gets announced and or, comes out this year. Metroid Prime 4 gets a actual solid trailer and some information. And Smash at least gets announced.
That's fair. The way that I view it is that the Switch had an extremely strong lineup last year, but only as far as the games that I currently own, because obviously I can't speak for everything. I know, like, Mario and Zelda are kind of a big deal, but Mario Kart 8 was a port. Disgaea 5 was a port. Street Fighter 2 has been ported to literally everything.
Yeah, right.
Like,
Pokken Tournament really was a port.
What?
Pokken Tournament EX was a port.
Yeah. So, like, a lot of the stuff that came for the Switch was a port of some kind, either from the Wii U or from from one of the other consoles. Like, a lot of it was original too. Don't get me wrong. Like, Mario Odyssey was developed for the Switch. Zelda, I believe, was originally developed for the Switch and ended up being ported to the Wii U.
Mario and Rabbids, ARMS, Splatoon 2.
Yeah, ARMS, Splatoon 2, stuff like that. Like, all of that stuff made for a very strong lineup. And it's like, this year we're going to be seeing a lot of ports, and we're going to be seeing a lot of... We'll still be seeing a lot of first-party stuff, but it's like...
Lower tier first-party stuff.
It's not necessarily... Well, the thing about... Yeah, I was going to say, like, Nintendo kind of has this weird, almost, like, tier list for their stuff, where it's like, Mario, Zelda, and Smash are the top... And, like, Mario, Zelda, Smash, and Pokemon are, like, the top of things. And then under that, you have, like, Kirby, Yoshi... what else? Metroid, because they haven't really given Metroid the proper treatment in a while.
No.
And like, now I guess Bayonetta would be included in that, even though it's a second-party title.
Right.
Because it is an exclusive. Yeah, so there's all sorts of stuff like that, where it's like, Nintendo kind of has this tier list, and it's like, we need to see at least one or two upper tier releases like we did last year, and that does include all the ports that we're going to be getting, that have been announced, like Donkey Kong, etc., for this year to be a good year for the Switch.
Right.
But I really do think the big thing is, like, virtual console support. They need to get on that, like, right now.
The Nintendo Online service needs to be good.
Yeah.
The console sold already more than the Wii U did in 4.5 years. So,
yeah, it's not a shitty console.
That kind of sucked. The Wii U had a very bad showing. Hell, it failed worse than the GameCube did, and I consider that console a failure as well.
Yeah, it's a shame, though, because the GameCube was actually really good.
One game for the Wii U that needs to come over to the Switch is Super Mario Maker, and they need to do it right this time.
Yeah.
Give us more creation tools. Give us, like, slopes. Let us make slides and slopes for our levels. Give us more than what you did,
I'd really like to see them make, I would like to see them make other, like, quote-unquote maker games for the Switch. Like, if they could somehow make a deal with Capcom to make a Mega... Like, I know Mega Maker is a thing, but I'm pretty sure it's a fan project.
Yeah, it is a fan... Yeah, definitely a fan project.
Like, if they could make Mega Maker for the Switch and make it official, that'd be awesome.
Right.
And if they could do the same thing for, like, Zelda or... even Kirby at this point.
Yeah, right? I mean, Kirby, I think, would be pretty cool.
Castlevania, if Castlevania was a fucking Maker game.
I don't even think Castlevania comes to Nintendo platforms anymore.
It doesn't.
That's sad because it started on Nintendo.
Yeah, it stopped with I want to say Symphony of the Night.
That was PlayStation 1,
Wait,
right?
No, because it was on the portable console, so it stopped with oh god, it's Aria of Sorrow or whichever one's the second one, like Aria of Sorrow or Dawn of Sorrow. It's one of the two. I think that's the last one on a Nintendo console.
So now with the Bloodstained game, which is supposed to be the spiritual successor to Castlevania, do you think that's going to come to the Switch? Because I don't think it's been announced for it yet.
I don't know, because it's kind of like, if it hasn't been announced for it yet, it will probably come to the Switch in the future, but I'm not sure. Because I don't know how hard the Switch is to develop for.
So all in all, with the Nintendo Switch, you would consider it a good console. Like, people should go out and buy this thing.
Oh, fuck yeah.
So, honestly, I think the Nintendo Switch is a pass. Much better than the Wii U and the GameCube. Personally, now, I think N64 games is possible in the Virtual Console because the Wii U did have a few N64 games in their Virtual Console.
Yeah.
So, I think the Switch is going to have a pretty strong showing for at least this year and maybe next year before it starts to die down a little. I don't think it's going to be one of those 100 million unit sellers, but I think it has a pretty good chance to become the second most sold Nintendo console of all time, which right now is currently held by the NES.
Do you think the Switch could beat out the PS2 as the best console?
Absolutely not. 155 million units, that is going to take a long time. And I just don't think Nintendo's going to give...
I mean, in terms of quality, not in terms of units sold.
Oh, okay. In terms of quality.
Yeah.
I mean, there were hundreds of games put on the PS2. That's gonna be a tough sell. It all depends on, how popular the console is and, how well it sells. I think, because eventually, if it starts to go downhill, and third parties don't see, that they're making all that much money developing for the Switch, they'll jump ship and they'll leave it. They'll leave Nintendo again, like they did with the Wii and the Wii U. So I don't know. I don't think so. I think it's going to be close, but I don't think it could be better. I don't think it'll be better quality wise, and games library wise than the Wii U. So that being said, folks, if you haven't played a Switch yet, you got to get your hands on one. You definitely got to play one at some point. If not for the dock, play it for the portability. Because you could take this thing anywhere. You could play it on the TV and on the go. You only need to buy one copy of a game now instead of two. You don't need a Wii U and a 3DS to play the same exact game. You're actually saving money in the long run with this thing if you want to play your favorite games. And it can connect to Wi-Fi anywhere. And, you could have a go with that. Have a go at your favorite games wherever you go. So, final thoughts on the Switch before we move on?
Fucking buy one, but be careful because it will consume your life.
With that being said, let's take a pause for a moment. I'm busting for a piss. I'll be right back. So, with the next thing I'd like to get into, got a new toy today.
Okay.
Would you like to know what that new toy is?
Yeah, what is it?
I got me a SNES Classic Edition.
Oh, dude, I've been thinking about buying one of those, but honestly, I just emulate all my shit on my computer.
I've been wanting one of these since my birthday last year. It came out on my birthday, September 29th. It's got Super Mario World, Donkey Kong, Yoshi's Island, Super Mario RPG, Star Fox 1 and 2, Kirby's Dream Course, Kirby Superstar, Mega Man X, Street Fighter 2 Turbo Edition, and Super Mario Kart, a few other games. I got this mainly because I want to mod the shit out of it.
Okay.
And I want to add a lot more games to it. This way I don't have to use an emulator anymore to play my games.
That would be pretty cool. How much memory does it have?
I think I heard it's got about 237 megabytes after the console's hardware that makes it run. So, We're unboxing this shit right now, even though it's been done to death. But let's see what kind of stuff I got. What do we got here? Oh, wait a minute. Alright, we got the SNES. Super Nintendo was my favorite Nintendo console of all time.
Yeah, mine too.
And it turns on. You slide it, just like you always would, to power it on and to reset it. Not gonna lie though, I kind of wish the cartridge slot, I kind of wish the thing in the middle would work. You know? Like to push it down and you'd be able to open the cartridge slot at least. Just for laughs. Just for a goof. But this thing is literally the size of my hand. It's slightly bigger than my hand. It's supposed to come with 2 wired controllers. What we got here? This is one of the controllers. Controller feels exactly as I remember it. It feels so nostalgic-y. Obviously, it has a different connector end than the original console. There are 2 controllers here. Of course, they both look and feel exactly the same. Oh man, this is so nostalgic right now. Can't wait to bust this bad boy in. Comes with one of those cell phone wall bricks that you plug in and that you plug the USB cord into.
Okay.
It says Nintendo on it. It's got Nintendo engraved on it. Yeah, literally it feels like one of those cell phone power bricks that you plug into the wall and you attach your USB wire to it. Comes with the USB cable to plug it in. Naturally. And the HDMI cable, which, if I had to guess, I would say is about 4 feet long. So, were you ever interested in this thing, or I know you said you'd rather just emulate your games.
50-50. I'd rather emulate my games, but at the same time, it's a nice thing to have on display.
I mean, like I said, I would rather, just download my games onto this thing, and this way I won't have to use an emulator anymore.
Yeah.
So, I don't see why my Elgato should have a problem streaming this thing.
Yeah, sorry, my laptop just had a stroke, so I'm gonna have to plug it in.
Oh, okay.
I'm laying in bed, so it's not a big deal, but
I wanna stream some SNES Mini madness. As long as my Elgato doesn't have a fit with my computer.
Well, I heard that Star Fox 2 was it was finished, but it was never released because the N64 was right around the corner.
Right, yeah, it was finished, but it was never released.
So I'd be curious to see how that plays.
However, it was available online through downloadable ROMs for quite a while now.
Huh.
So people have played it, have gotten to play it, already. I'm just gonna put this one over here.
Yeah, I'm curious as to how it plays compared to the original N64.
See, I wasn't really a Star Fox fan. I played the original SNES one, but I was like never crazy about it.
Nah, 64 is the best one.
I played. Was there one on the GameCube? I can't remember.
Assault and Adventures were on the GameCube.
Yeah, see, I played one of them on the GameCube through one of those store kiosks where you get to try games at the store. I can't get this thing back in the original box. We also got two wireless controllers. Because if we want to play it,
pretty cool.
If we want to play it in the living room, the wired controllers will not reach the couch from the TV. So we got two wireless controllers, but we had to get two different controllers. One is a turbo controller, and one isn't.
So do you think Nintendo is going to keep doing this for their other consoles? Like, do you think that we could see like the Game Boy Classic or the N64 Classic?
Game Boy Classic, maybe. N64 Classic, I think, would be more likely.
I don't know, because it's kind of like the N64 games were still pretty limited in how much storage they had.
Right.
So it's like if they still released only a collection of like 30 games. Actually, I didn't even think the N64 has 30 like good first-party games.
This is the wireless controller we have.
I really like. I think it's possible, but it's like you said, it's unlikely. Like personally, I would like to see them do it for like that or that and the GameCube and stuff.
I think if they did, they would stop at the GameCube because there wouldn't be.
Oh yeah, because they couldn't do the Wii because the Wii would be too much hassle to get the motion controls done.
Right, and then obviously the Wii U is still too, I guess, new. You could say.
Yeah. Well, I think this sets a good precedent though. Like I'd like to see Sony do something similar with the PS2.
Right, or even the PS1.
It's on CD, like it's gonna take more to do. Like most early PS2 games are only like 1 to 3 gigs per disc, but then you get crazy shit like Xenosaga where it's like 3 discs long.
Right.
So it's like the PS4 is
excuse me.
The PS4 is like 500 gigs or a terabyte depending on which model you get.
I have the 500 gigs myself.
Me too. So it's like the storage is there. It's just a question of whether or not the technology is there for them to emulate it decently. Which I think it is, just by virtue of the fact that they have those games on the store. The only thing is because they have those games on the store, it's unlikely that they would be willing to release that stuff.
Yeah, because it would kind of like defeat the purpose.
Yeah, exactly.
So, I just unboxed my SNES Mini and the wireless controllers that we bought separately. So that's cool. I forgot to put the manual back in the box. Oh well. Like I said, I am going to mod the shit out of this thing. Going to learn how to do it. Work on it over the next few hours, because I heard it doesn't take very long. And if all goes well, I will stream it to see how the games work and make sure shit doesn't crash.
Okay.
So with that being said, let's finally get into some news here. Now that we're just about an hour into the podcast, we're finally getting into some news. What do you want to start with? I'll let you pick this time.
Let's talk about the Demon Soul servers for a second.
All right.
So, basically what happened, as anyone with a PS3 might be aware, because I browse the deals on pretty much a weekly basis, Demon Souls has been sitting at $9.99 for the last little while. And that's apparently because Atlas, who owns the servers, last I checked, have decided to shut it down. Now, according to this article, let me just get it open. which is actually just a PSA from PlayStationTrophies.org. It says here, you might want to jump online, play one last co-op adventure. Of course, you'll still be able to roam the game offline. It's also worth noting that you can still platinum Demon Souls without having to play the game's online content. And Bandai Namco actually released a... Oh fuck, was Bamco involved? Anyway, yeah, Bamco released a thanks to all players. Now, I think it's great that you don't need online play to platinum Demon Souls.
Which is good, because then that would ruin the game.
But I also think that because of what Demon Souls is, it's very, like... Cutting off the online play in a Souls game castrates 50% of the game. Like, because part of what makes Souls great, as someone who really likes those games, is the way community is handled. Like, the Souls community, you're forced to communicate through in-game messages. Now, I've never played Demon Souls, so I can't say... I don't really know the difference between it and Dark Souls. But the co-op in Souls is typically quite indirect. Usually through leaving messages that other players can find, or if you're summoned into another person's world, it's generally for, like, one boss fight.
I see.
And, like, but the thing is that PvP is kind of a big deal. And in Demon Souls, there's this concept called world tendency, and I don't know how easy it would be to change that world tendency from one to the other as a result of there no longer being online play. Like, I know that it would get dark. It goes from black to white. And it would go closer to black the more you invaded or died, and the closer to white the more you co-opt. So, I guess it might be more difficult to change world tendency now. PvP's gone. Like, it's kind of a shame, really.
I heard White Souls was easier to play.
At least it's still on the store, and at least it's cheap.
I heard White Souls was easier to play in that game than Black.
Huh?
I said I heard White was easier to play than Black.
Yeah.
Like, I heard the enemies weren't as tough and everything, too.
Last I checked, you only want Black level layouts for certain... I think they said that certain scripted events don't happen or something. I don't know, I haven't played it, and the last time I watched it, I was incredibly drunk and watching a live stream.
Sounds like you.
But I don't know, I'm just kind of sad, really. Because, like, I've always wanted to experience it, but I never actually got the chance to. And now if there's no online play, there's really no point.
Pretty much, no. Because, soloing a game like this is really not a good time.
It can be tough. It can be tough, you know?
This game first came out in 2009, October 6th, 2009.
Mm-hmm.
So they're cutting off the services about 9 years later. And, by the way, if you guys want to know how tough the trophies are for this game, trophies, the difficulty rating is at an 8 out of 10, and that's with the online servers. So without it, it probably spikes the difficulty of the Platinum up to a 10 out of 10.
Most of the Platinums in Souls games are for, like, stupid little fucking busy work shit, like... Get a best weapon in each of the major categories, stuff like that. It's really quite a pain in the ass.
It's very grindy, right?
Yeah, extremely.
All right, let's talk about Xenoblade Chronicles 2. So there's an update for the game that brings advanced new game mode and new blades. It launched yesterday. Nintendo had to delay Xenoblade Chronicle 2's 1.3 update that adds advanced new game mode due to some bugs that were found, but now has a release date which came out yesterday. According to the official Japanese Twitter account, the update released on March 2nd, it adds an advanced new game mode along with several new blades, including the Akos Crescidus, Mikal Obrana, Petroka, Peridito, and Sever. Wow, what a bunch of names.
Yeah, it says that one of them was designed by Tetsuya Nomura, who did Final Fantasy.
And that's pretty much it. That's all this update says.
I've played Xenoblade 2. I really think that game, like... I've experienced weird control issues with that game, despite having updated it. Like, your character will walk and run intermittently if you're moving your stick up, like forward. But if you're panning the camera so that you're moving to the side, it doesn't do that, which I found to be quite weird.
Really?
Yeah, it's really strange. Apparently it's not an issue that... It's an issue that hasn't affected any other game that I've played, and allegedly it's an issue that quite a few other people have had.
Interesting. I just gotta set Dragon Ball to record while we're doing this.
Alright.
So, let's keep going. That was pretty much, pretty small update for anybody who's playing Xenoblade Chronicles 2 at the moment. You have something new to look forward to if you haven't checked it out yet.
I haven't finished it, but I've heard that it really opens up and it's like a fucking couple 100 hours that you're never going to get back.
Right, I heard it's a long game, which is good because you want a long game, Yeah,
you want to get what you pay for, and I feel like Xenoblade, if it maintains like a consistent quality throughout, then you're getting more than what you paid for.
So let's talk about Zoids.
Fuck, remember Zoids?
I remember.
Like,
do you remember?
I was gonna make the fucking South Park joke. Remember Zoids? Oh, I remember.
I remember.
Pepperidge Farm remembers too.
Do you remember? I remember. So it turns out Zoids is making a return. It's making a comeback after all these years.
In Pog form.
And
you're not familiar with that Simpsons joke?
No.
There's a Simpsons joke. I guess I'll be unfunny and explain the joke where Bart sells his soul to Milhouse. Milhouse sells it to the comic book guy for $5, and he goes out and buys Pogs. You know what Pogs are, right?
Yeah, I know what Pogs are, yeah.
And he's like, I got Alf Pogs, Bart. Remember Alf? Well, he's back in Pog form.
I see. So that's where that comes from.
But anyway, yeah, so Zoids is back, not in Pog form.
It's coming back with a cross-media project, which includes a Nintendo Switch video game. So there's another game for the Switch that could potentially bolster the 2018 lineup.
It says here that it's getting a game, a manga, and an anime.
Well, that's interesting. Zoids was pretty alright back in the day.
I remember... I can't remember what console it was for. I can't remember. Oh, I don't remember. Fucking Alzheimer berries. But I think there was an Xbox game originally that I had almost picked up when I was a kid. Let me see here. PS2. Or maybe it was 360. Whatever. Anyway, I almost bought a Zoids game when I was a kid, but I ended up not picking it up. So, like, I'm not super familiar with Zoids. I don't have a lot of... I'm not one of those people who's like, oh, I remember Zoids from my childhood. I have fond memories of Zoids. I'm just like, I grew up on Gundam like everybody else.
I mean, I'm not like a super fan of mechs, but like I will watch, this kind of stuff. Okay. Does interest me a bit. So
I fucking love mechs.
Apparently, Takara Tomy announced during a press conference that Zoids franchise is making a comeback after 12 years. The new series is called Zoids Wild, and it includes a Nintendo Switch video game. The series will not change anything from its original mechanical animal concept. It will introduce new designs through a new line of toys, starting with Wild Liger and Gill Raptor. this June in Japan. The series will also get a manga as well as an anime this summer in Japan. So all this stuff is obviously going to come out in Japan first. And depending on its popularity, may or may not reach the U.S.
How popular was Zoids in the West? Because I never heard anyone talk about it growing up.
It lasted a little while, quite a few years.
Because looking at their Wikipedia page, they had a lot of video games, and most of them are from the Xbox 360 PS2 era.
Yeah,
which is really fucking weird.
Zoids started. I remember it started in the later half of the 90s, around 96, 97 ish. And it was a thing on TV, on Cartoon Network for at least a good 6-7 years.
Okay.
So I mean, it definitely had a decent run. I'm interested, that's for sure. I may go back and watch the old shit now, just to get ready for the new stuff.
Man, I wish they made Voltron video games. That'd be so cool.
Didn't they though back in the day? I don't remember.
Fuck, I don't remember. I know the closest thing we have is the VR on PS4, but I'm not gonna buy a PSVR. So.
Oh, I need to go to my email because I need to bring up that one thing we need to talk about.
Okay.
Where's my keyboard? Trying to reach the Y key and the A key because I don't want to move my keyboard because I'm a lazy shit. Okay, I think I spelled Yahoo. I hope. No, I didn't spell anything. Come on.
And that's when you spell Yoohoo.com and you end up with porn.
Oh, God. I hope not. Yeah. Okay, here we go. So we're going to do this. We're going to talk about this before we move on to the rest of our news. Now, of course, this isn't something I can show you because it was emailed to me personally. You might have actually gotten this email if you ever made a purchase on the Nis America website in the past.
I have, but I checked my email and I haven't actually received the thing. The email from them.
So the new email, Notice of Data Breach, for the Nis America online store. The email was sent out yesterday, and it states, Dear valued customer, we're contacting you to notify you of a data breach which occurred between January 23rd and February 26th, as well as February 28th, 2018, on online stores owned and operated by Nis America, Inc., including store, nisamerica.com, and snkonlinestore.com.
Oh, actually, I did get their email. Shit.
The data breach of an unauthorized party accessed customer payment and address information for new credit card orders placed between these dates. It says the notice is intended to inform all customers of our online stores what happened, even if they were not impacted by this issue. If our information shows that you had placed an order between January 23rd and the 28th, 2018, you will have already received a message from us, which thankfully I didn't. Says the malicious process used to collect personal information may still remain in your system's local files. If you attempted to check out on one of our stores between the time frame, even though this process has been removed from our website, it may still be present in your computer. For your safety, we strongly recommend clearing your browser's cookies, cached files, and other site data to ensure the deletion of these files. Even if you did not visit our site on these dates, we still recommend that you clear your data to ensure you are receiving up-to-date files from our web pages. So, I went on the website, I'm sure as did you, during this time frame. I told you I almost pre-ordered SNK Heroines last month, around the same exact time.
Yeah, so did I. Well, I almost did.
And I had it in my cart, and I changed my mind. Now, I don't remember if I saved my card information. I know my address is saved in Nis America store, but not the SNK store. I don't think my debit card information is saved on any of the stores. And even if it is, it's a debit card that's no longer in use because I changed banks a couple of months ago. But still, my address is in there, my email is in there. You know, if this data breach got out, potentially my address could have gotten leaked to this unauthorized party. A question I want to ask you is, why did it take them over a month to start notifying us when this first happened?
Well, that's kind of bullshit, but it's kind of the same thing as like when Sony gets hacked, it usually takes them a month just to notify people.
Right, but I mean, if they knew this was going on, and for some reason it went on for a little over a month, and they waited until after they fixed the problem to tell us, why did they come out?
I was going to say, either they waited until after the problem was fixed, which is in and of itself a problem, because if they knew about it beforehand, then they should have probably said, hey, don't order anything between these dates, because you may end up under attack.
I'm guessing there was some kind of... I'm sorry, go ahead.
It's quite possible they didn't know in that period.
That's like the only thing I could think of. It was like
it started here and it ended here, but it's possible they didn't actually figure it out until recently.
I mean, that's possible. But, I mean, you're going to tell me they didn't know this for over a month?
Oh, no, I think it's doubtful, but I think it's possible.
Now, whoever did this had to have, like, encoded some malware or some kind of virus into the website, it sounds like, in order for this to happen. I'm not tech savvy on this whole thing. I don't know how that works.
Me neither.
But I just think that kind of sucks. And if you're not aware of this email yet, I suggest you check your emails if you have purchased anything or visited the website during these dates, like we have. So if you're not aware of this and you are a fan of Nis America, I strongly suggest you check your emails. And if you did buy something during the time frame of January 23rd and February 28th, check your bank statements. Make sure you're not being phished. Make sure your information wasn't stolen and that you don't have any unauthorized charges that shouldn't be on your account. That kind of sucks that this happened. I don't understand what possesses people to want to do this stupid shit. Because when they get caught, it's only going to land them in jail anyway, so what are they really getting out of it? Yeah. And have you noticed that whenever this shit happens, it's always from some shithole country?
Sometimes. Sometimes it's domestic.
I mean, 9 times out of 10, it's always from some foreign country that nobody gives a shit about. And quite honestly, these people that do this should never be allowed to internet ever again.
Yeah, that's true.
Because you know they're just going to do it again, if they get let off. Or they get out of jail, they serve their time. What's going to stop them from doing it again? Because they will do it again.
Well, they have the knowledge. I think it kind of goes both ways. It's like Nipponichi needs to really get off their ass. Really needs to get off their ass and fix things as soon as possible. Which obviously I think they have based on that email. But they also need to kind of tighten up their security so this stuff doesn't happen again.
Especially if it went on for over a month undetected.
Yeah.
I mean, at least when Sony got hacked, they knew about it the very same day. It just took them a month to fix things. Or a month and a half to fix things.
That was quite a long period where, they were under attack.
Yeah.
Right? A lot of stuff happened in that time frame.
Yeah, I mean, the hack took place in, I think 2 days. But, I mean, after it happened, and Sony shut the shit down to stop it from continuing, it still took them a little over a month to fix everything. But at least they acted on it. They knew what happened. It didn't take them a month to stop it. And, it's possible, like you said, that they didn't know about it. But come on, how would you not know about this for a month?
Yeah. It's that's the only that's the only excuse they could possibly have. And even then, it's you didn't know, but it's your website. You should try to be up on that shit and have better security for your customers.
Right, and then don't they get, security analysis, every day?
I would assume so, yeah.
And this happened during the time frame where they did their shitty press conference too. So this happened during that time, and they were selling their products and telling people, hey, go to our site, we got our new pre-orders up for our new limited editions. While this was going on.
That's right.
That's kind of fucked, to be honest.
A little bit.
And could you imagine if they actually did know about it then, and they were still telling people to go to their website and buy shit? And at the same time, they possibly have known about this and haven't stopped it yet?
Knew that you're at risk? Yeah, that's kind of... That would be fucking terrible.
I mean, this sucks, bro. I mean, I'm really glad I did not pre-order SNK Heroines when I almost did, because it was in my cart. I literally clicked checkout, and I was so close to putting my information in. I'm like, you know what? Fuck it. I'll wait. I'll give it a little more time.
Yeah.
But apparently the website is safe now. You can shop and visit the website unharmed. But again, check your emails. If you got this email, check your bank statements if you made purchases and whatnot. Hopefully everything's good and you won't have to worry about it anymore. Alright, let's talk about Sony announcing new organizational structure to take place on April 1st. April Fool's Day. So what do you think? How valid do you think this is going to be?
Well, I think it's true just because that's the start of the new fiscal year.
So Sony Interactive Entertainment announced changes to its organizational structure to further reinforce the company's business and operational strength. As PlayStation continues to grow on a global scale, Sony has made it an increasingly important priority to meet the needs of the different markets around the world. Jim Ryan, who was recently appointed deputy president, will have sales and marketing divisions of SIEA, SIEE, and SIEIA report directly to him. In order to ensure the coordination between Sony's organizations and support functions that are overseen locally, President and CEO John Cordera and Jim Ryan will assume the roles of executive in charge of regions. Cordera will be responsible for the Americas, Japan, and Asia, while Jim Ryan handles Europe. The current SIEIA president, Atsushi Morita, will report directly to Cordera to support management of cross-function activities for Japan and Asia. Lastly, Phil Rosenberg has been appointed head of Global Publisher and Developer Relations as of January 2018. Hideki Nishino is set to assume the role of head platform planning and management effective April 1st. So it sounds like a lot of legal jargon, corporate jargon, people getting new promotions. Quite honestly, as long as it's going to strengthen their services as a whole, and it keeps them protected and not being able to undergo the same shit that happened back in 2011.
Yeah.
I say go for it. Do what you got to do.
Personally, when it comes to the business side of things, I don't particularly care that much. But yeah, I definitely agree with what you're saying. Like, I think these changes could be good going forward, just by virtue of the fact that, like, by having these people report directly to Jim Ryan, and by having these other structural changes, I think that it could prove to be a little bit of a clusterfuck at first. But in the end, I think that it's kind of like another layer of quality control and oversight that might be necessary, given some of the problems that Sony's had in the past.
Right. And, like I said, as long as it's going to help in the long run, I'm all for it. I don't know who these people are, for the most part, but if they're doing a good job, give them the promotions they deserve, and keep pushing forward as, right now, the best gaming company on the planet. Because they dominated in the 6th gen, and they're winning the current gen right now. So, Really not much to say on that. This is all pretty much smaller news. Yakuza 6, have you played the demo at all?
No, because I haven't finished Yakuza 0. But apparently, as it says here, Sega may have accidentally released the full version as a demo. It says here, the players got even more than they bargained for because apparently they discovered that you can play past the supposed end.
And a few people were reported to have started earning trophies by playing the demo as well.
Yeah, that's crazy. Which I think is kind of weird, because, like, Yakuza in and of itself is so full of content. Some of it isn't particularly entertaining content, in my opinion, but it's so full of content that it's kind of funny that this happened.
It went up on the PlayStation Store. Where did it go down? Like the very next day, I think it was?
Let's see here. I actually don't know. It doesn't say when it went up. It just says that...
Well, it went up on Tuesday.
On 27th.
Okay, so when it went down right away then. Like, right after it went up. Not long after it went up. The demo was over 36 gigabytes in size. Just for the demo alone. It says, sometime after going live, a few players discovered you can play past the supposed end of the demo. Yakuza 6 demo, which is a full game download, limits you access to a couple of early chapters. This tactic isn't new, and most games that have demos or trials essentially give you access to the full game, but puts restrictions in place for obvious reasons. This makes it easy for your save file to carry over for when you buy it. In this case, Yakuza 6, it seems, though few lucky players didn't even have to do any weird tricks to get access to the rest of the game. In fact, some unlocked trophies as they continued playing.
Sega issued an apology, which was interesting.
Yeah. Sega issued apologies, and I quote on Twitter, "We apologize, but have to remove the Yakuza 6, The Song of Life demo from the store. We are as upset as you are. We hope and had hoped to have the demo available for everyone. We discovered some were able to use the demo to unlock the full game. We are looking into the nature of the issue. Thanks for your patience." Now, I don't think the demo has resurfaced since, so I think they're still working on it.
Well, I mean, it's only been a couple of days, so I mean... Personally, I think that because the game has been delayed until the 17th of April, I really do hope that Sega comes back with the demo. Like, I hope they release the demo, like, a fixed version of it.
Right. Like, at least a week before the game comes out, right?
Yeah, at least. Like, Yakuza is really good, but it's also somewhat niche. So it's like, I feel... Although I wouldn't really recommend jumping in on fucking Yakuza 6. Like, honestly, go out and buy, like, 0. If you're gonna start buying them up. But... Fuck. I lost my train of thought. Yeah, if you're gonna start... If you're interested in playing Yakuza 6 and seeing what that series has to offer, then, go download the demo first. Because it's not for everybody. Especially if you think that it's GTA, it is not GTA. It's not even close. I think that, honestly, Sega, like, this does not speak well to me for Sega or for the team that developed this. Like, you'd think to God they'd have a modicum of quality control.
And we were just so high on them in the last episode, right? Or was it the last part that we did?
I can't remember.
We were talking about how they should release the Neptune, and if we were rich, we would fund it ourselves.
Yeah, that was the last part. And I would be like, I still think Sega's great. Don't get me wrong. Like, I'm probably gonna buy Yakuza 6 at some point, but yeah, that's really upsetting.
I've never played Yakuza personally.
They're open world games that have stories kind of like Japanese crime movies. and the gameplay is very much like a beat 'em up.
Interesting.
It's really good.
So yeah, the last kind of game I played like that was The Godfather.
I haven't played The Godfather.
I played The Godfather 1 on PS2, and I played The Godfather 2 on PS3. I thought they were pretty good games. You know, Godfather feels a lot more like GTA than probably that game does, according to what you're saying.
Yeah. Honestly, I was gonna make a crack about how we're gonna see Godfather 3 for the PS4, but I hope to God they never release Godfather 3 for anything ever. Because that is a series that declined in quality with every film.
Well, and I think the same goes for the games, because we haven't seen another one of those yet.
Honestly, I think the same thing could be said about Mafia. Like, Mafia 1 and 2 were really good. And 3 I've heard is really bad.
I heard the same, yeah.
But anyway, yeah, as far as like crime sims go, it's not quite as cathartic as GTA, because in GTA you can just like go out with a rocket launcher and kill a bunch of hookers in the first 2 minutes of play. Whereas Yakuza, it's like Yakuza has basically random encounters almost. Like, they're not super random, but and that's how you get into fights, and then that's how you access the brawling side of the gameplay compared to the open world stuff. Like, it will put you in an area and kind of like, I don't want to say lock you off into an arena, but it will section off the area so that you're in an enclosed space where you can beat up a bunch of dudes. It's pretty rad. It's really good.
Interesting.
And I found that it was some of the hypest shit I've ever played. Like, Yakuza 0 is really good.
I'd have to look into that game then sometime. I like beat 'em ups.
I will send you. I think it's the opening for Chapter 4, Chapter 3 or Chapter 4, and it's fucking great. It's really good. Like, the one of the main characters owns a cabaret, or is the manager of a cabaret club, and basically schools a drunk patron without actually touching him. It's really good.
Be honest, that drunk was you.
No, I'm a well-behaved drunk, good sir.
Well, as I've always said, I can never notice when you're drunk or not, and you're probably drunk right about now.
I've had literally 1 glass of vodka.
I thought it was 2.
No, the second one was just 7-Up, so I didn't want to have to go back out to my living room.
Well, let's go over the last piece of news we have here.
Yeah, so apparently Battlefield 5 is going to be super original and go back to World War II.
Right? It's going to be like the new Medal of Honor.
Yeah. So it's your Battlefield 5. Let's see here. Set in World War II, releases in autumn. And apparently it's the first time that it will be returning to World War II since 2009.
Right, and their game, Battlefield 1943.
And after I think what they've done is they've actually like rebooted
the Battlefield series,
because internally they're referring to this as Battlefield 2.
Apparently, internally as Battlefield 2. According to anonymous source reporting to VentureBeat, it would make more sense for the game to be named Battlefield 5 since there's already been a Battlefield 2. EA hasn't initially planned to reveal a new Battlefield game this year, but the delaying of BioWare's Anthem meant having DICE to step up with a game to fill the void. EA has confirmed that there will definitely be a new Battlefield game launching in 2018. With a debut set for the company's EA Play event during E3 2018 this June, could Battlefield 5 be it? With Call of Duty World War II proving rather popular and Bad Company 3 seemingly off the table, it looks like we'll have the official announcement as soon as it surfaces. So, we're going to know more for sure at E3.
Yeah, I was going to say, this to me feels like the world's most high-profile game of follow the leader at the moment. Because, like, They mentioned it in the article that like Call of Duty released their World War II throwback. It
did pretty
sold
well.
really well, huh?
I said it did pretty well.
Yeah, it sold pretty well. So it's like, I'm kind of curious because it's like I wonder what they're gonna do with this. Like, how are they gonna? Because Battlefield 1, from what I know, was really innovative, just in the sense of like the setting of World War I, even though it's not 1-to-1 for World War I. I guess it's because it explored a setting that we've never seen before, whereas there's like a million World War II shooters. Fuck, you know what? Give me Battlefield 1776. Give me a musket and a cavalry sword and a horse, and let's fucking go. Could you fucking imagine a first-person shooter in like the 1800s?
Oh god, the Civil War, Battlefield Civil War.
Battlefield Gettysburg. Let's go. And then the zombies map is have you ever seen the movie Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter?
No, but I've heard of it.
The zombies map is just that. The final boss is just General Robert E. Lee. Holy fuck, I want this now. Because that sounds way better than Battlefield 2.
Speaking of Battlefield, how do you like the naming of these games? It went from Battlefield 1943 to Battlefield Bad Company to Bad Company 2 to Battlefield 3, dropping the Bad Company subname, to Battlefield 4 to Battlefield 1 to Battlefield 5.
Oh, what in the actual fuck? Like, at least Call of Duty, of all the things I can say about it,
they got the naming right.
It's like 1 and 2, and then 3, and then Modern Warfare, and then Modern Warfare is its own sub-series. And then World at War, which I don't even think is considered... it is the 5th one, but I don't think it was just...
It was never numbered.
5 was actually like a... Yeah, it's just Call of Duty World at War. There's no 5 in the title.
Right. None of the games after 4 got a number on their title.
Unless they were part of a sub-series.
Right. Like Ghosts or... Well, no, not even Ghosts.
No, not even Ghosts. Black Ops. Black Ops has 3.
The one I meant.
Modern Warfare has 3.
And that's it. Then you have Infinite Warfare. Then you have the World War II. Ghosts, Advanced Warfare, and World at War, or all the other ones that don't have numbers.
Yeah, the way I see it, honestly, I've just started to kind of... Call of Duty has started to blend together in such a way that the only way I can recognize the ones that aren't part of a sub-series, if I'm completely honest with you, is by whatever stupid gimmick they put in it. Like, Call of Duty Ghosts. Oh, this is the one with the doggo. And he's a good boy. Call of Duty Infinite Warfare. Call of Duty Halo Edition.
Right?
That's what it is. It's just fucking Halo. Wait, isn't Infinite Warfare also the one where it's like press F to pay respects and Kevin Spacey's the villain?
Yeah, that was the one that when the trailer dropped, it got so much hate that it became the most disliked video on YouTube in record time. And to ensure that people would actually buy the fucking thing, that's why they remastered Modern Warfare, the first one, Call of Duty 4, and bundled it with Infinite Warfare because they knew people would play the remastered Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare, but in order for them to play it, they had to have their Infinite Warfare disc.
Sweet salty Christ.
Dude, I remember that shit got over 6 million dislikes in like less than a week. People were so salty over that shit. It was incredible.
It's like this, right? If it's not broken, don't fix it. Call of Duty, although I guess this is going to sound a little bit hypocritical because I've complained about Call of Duty just being expansion packs that are priced like full price.
Right.
But I really do think that Call of Duty, it's like the McDonald's of first-person shooters. It's like, when I go into McDonald's, I know exactly what I'm getting. I know it's not exactly high quality, but it's still enjoyable to some extent. Right?
Right.
So I don't go into McDonald's and go, hey, could you make me a cheeseburger made out of pheasant? You know, I don't go in there and I'm like, can I get McLobster, but also, like, I want actual lobster meat, Like, they would just tell me to get the fuck out because they don't know what real meat is.
Personally, I order the chicken nuggets whenever I go in there.
I fucking love chicken nuggets. Jesus Christ.
That's fucking
now I want to go to McDonald's.
And get some nuggies. Get some nuggies.
I want some nuggies. But, God, what am I, a white girl? Oh my God. I went out and I got chicken nuggets from McDonald's. Like, holy shit. But,
well, you could also order tendies, too.
Can you get tendies at McDonald's?
Yes, the buttermilk tendies.
For the inner 4chaner in us all. But...
What the fuck does that mean?
It's a noise that apparently a frog makes, like a certain type of frog makes when it's threatened. Because it's at a high enough pitch that it wards off predators.
Leave it to the internet to come up with the stupidest shit.
That's fucking great. It's fucking great. But in all seriousness, right? Call of Duty repackaging itself is a fucking problem. But Call of Duty trying to be something it's not is even worse.
Yeah, right? They definitely stepped on Halo's toes with that last one.
I was gonna say, like, Bungie has the market cornered on the sci-fi shooter. Bungie has the fucking market cornered on that shit. Like, COD should really just stick to the military shooter that is set in the modern day, like that kind of thing. And as for Battlefield can be whatever the fuck it wants to be. Now, I'm saying that, I'm biased, because Battlefield's the only one that I actually like, of the ones that of the FPS games that I've tried. But, at the same time, Battlefield's gameplay works no matter what era you put it in. As long as it's not 1776. But, I mean, fuck, I would still buy that, because I'm a whore. I'm a dirty, dirty girl, EA, please take my money. And someone's going to repurpose that voice clip. Yeah, just me monotone. Oh my God, yes. Oh God. But in all seriousness, the thing about that is, like, Battlefield returning to World War II is not a problem. I have no doubts that they can execute it and execute it well. I just think the mentality behind it was kind of like, well, Call of Duty did it and it sold well, so we got to do it too now. And it's like, make something that you want or that you feel your fans will enjoy. Don't hop on a bandwagon.
Personally,
especially when you're,
when
you're fucking late to the bandwagon. Like, COD doing World War II is fine, because there haven't been a lot of World War II shooters in a while. But COD doing Infinite Warfare was, like, super late, because Halo was already super popular as of, like, Halo 3.
Right.
They were several years late for that.
Now, personally, do you know what war shooter I want back? Out of all the remasters that we get, the only one I truly want, besides Spyro, is SOCOM 2.
I've never played SOCOM. I played Medal of Honor Frontline once. That was okay.
Give me SOCOM 2 remastered. I will be a happy fucking guy. SOCOM 2, I have so many memories with that game, and I'm going to get into that with you guys one day. I will share the story of all stories when it comes to gaming. And there's quite a few laughs within said story. Some shit happened that was lulzy.
I gotta mute myself for a second. I'm gonna use the washroom.
And if I could ever get SOCOM 2 remastered, bring it back. That game was the fucking bomb. And nobody says the bomb anymore. Sue me, I just did. But here's the thing. SOCOM was amazing. It was the very first game I played online. It's the game that got me into online gaming. I killed so many hours on that game, it wasn't even funny. That is a war shooter I would love to have back. It was set more in the time of, like, the Afghanistan war, which has, like, never really been done. And personally, that's something I want to play again. I loved SOCOM 4. It was alright. Personally, I think SOCOM 3 was the worst out of all of them. SOCOM 4 kind of like had that last-ditch effort to be a good game. The single player was good, but the multiplayer sucked ass. SOCOM Confrontation kind of tried a little too hard to be SOCOM 2. It did work for a little while, but personally, I want to see a remaster of SOCOM 2. Give me that game.
Yeah.
That's what I want.
Honestly, the only military shooters I've actually been able to get into are Battlefield 4 and COD 5.
And I love the Medal of Honor games. I've played every single one of them except for the PlayStation 1 game. I have played them all, my friend.
I really liked Frontline. I thought Frontline was really fucking good.
I played Frontline. I played the Rising Sun or whatever it was called on the PS2.
Mm-hmm.
After that, I played the 2 on the PS3, which was just called...
So I also had Airborne and Vanguard, too, I think were the other two that come to mind.
Yes. Those were all good games. Personally, though, like I said, give me SOCOM 2, I will be a fucking happy guy. So, with that being said, final thoughts to close out the podcast for the week?
Please make a remix of me saying naughty things in my monotone voice with my one facial expression. Please. That is all that I ask for. In all seriousness, the Nintendo Switch is great. I think that anyone with the money should get one if they like Nintendo games. I think that it's unfortunate that Demon's Souls is gone.
But not forgotten.
No, but not forgotten. No, it's going to be forgotten because Dark Souls 1 is getting a remaster, and that's all people gave a shit about.
I guess that's true.
And we now have an email for the podcast for people to send in questions for the end bits.
Yes, you will. You are now able to email us at GameCornerPodcast@gmail.com. I didn't mean to cut you off, but I did.
No, I was going to say it because you paused, and I was like, oh, I guess I should say it.
Yeah, Game Corner Podcast.
All one word.
GameCornerPodcast@gmail.com. I think Chceck would shoot me if I had him redo the overlay just to put that on there, but it'll be in the description box down below like everything else. So, to wrap up this podcast, folks, again, follow me on Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, and YouTube. Follow Black Sakura on Facebook. Follow Erin Fitzgerald, the amazing voice actress, on Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, and YouTube. Check out jotaku.net. We write articles on there once in a while. I need to come up with another article idea since I only put up one so far. Ask us questions at the Game Corner Podcast@gmail.com. Ask us anything you want. It could be gaming related, preferably gaming related, to fit with the theme of the podcast. Obviously, if it's too personal of a question, we reserve the right to not answer your question. You can ask me a question. You can ask Cypher a question. You could ask both of us the same question. You could ask us to tell you our favorite gaming stories, if you'd like, or pretty much anything, Preferably gaming related, but hey, if you have a music question or a question about movies, we'll discuss that once in a while. Wouldn't hurt.
Yeah.
But with that being said, folks, this has been episode 9 of the Game Corner Podcast. We have wrapped it up. And get good at Tekken 7. That's all I can say. Get good at Tekken 7. Folks, thanks for watching, and until next week, until episode 10, my name is The Rose, and for Cypher, thanks for watching, and we'll catch your ass down the road.